All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, the nightmare is finally over. Probably a little overdue, but better late than never. The college football playoff rankings came out just a couple of minutes ago, and the Washington Huskies have moved into the top four. We got this from their official X account. Number four in the nation. And you take a look at the full rankings over here, the new CFP rankings. Georgia is one, Ohio State is two, Michigan is three, and Washington is four. So FSU bumps down. Now, when you look at the way the weekend went, it's kind of interesting how FSU got bumped down. It wasn't really because of that game they played, because they dominated that game. I know it took a while for them to get going, but once they got going, there was no stopping them. But it had more to do with the fact that they lost their best player for the season, Jordan Travis. So that's kind of an interesting way to do things, I guess. You don't let it. You're not really going by the product on the field, but you're going by the product that will be on the field going forward. Now, it's understandable that they would do it that way. After all, they do need to kind of project where this is going. That's more important than where they've been because the college football playoff games get played in the future. But it is kind of interesting that it took that to bump Washington over FSU when, I mean, really, when you really think about it, Washington had several wins already this season that were more impressive than anything FSU has done this year, right? Washington was being dragged down by those two really crappy wins they had against, what was it, Arizona State and Stanford, and the voters were not able to get past that. So it's kind of interesting that this would be the straw that breaks the camel's back because, objectively speaking, Washington, they've beaten Oregon, they've beaten Utah, they've beaten. Now, Arizona is a really good win, by the way. They had a pile of wins that were significantly better than anything FSU had done this year because their schedule is such a cakewalk. But it took this for it to actually be reflected. So Washington is fourth. That's the headline here. This weekend, we're playing the Cougars. So I don't think anything you do against the Cougars is going to impress anybody. So at the end of the day, you're not moving up. Like you can beat Wazoo by 160 points. I don't think that's moving you ahead of any of these three teams because Wazoo's not good enough. Obviously, you need to win. If you lose, then look out. But yeah, you just need to win at the end of the day. So you look at the rest of the rankings. You got Oregon still hot on our tail, Texas at 7, Alabama at 8, Mizzou at 9, and Louisville at 10. Pretty much all checks out. Georgia has turned it on lately, so I think them being in the number one spot makes sense. They did kind of go through a little bit of a lull in the midseason, but now they've really cranked it up. So makes sense to me. And I know that Michigan is kind of embroiled in that scandal right now. I said a couple weeks ago, I think Michigan was the best team in the country, but this whole sign stealing stuff has kind of thrown that into a little bit of doubt. And I understand that the voters might not be really sure what to do with Michigan. So I think the top four makes sense. All right, I will see you guys later with more Seahawks stuff, but I just wanted to make a quick video to celebrate Washington finally got into the top four, and we got to keep winning. Bottom line is we got to keep winning. We got to beat Wazoo, we got to beat Oregon, and then we'll see where we are. By the way, I'm assuming it's Oregon. It doesn't have to be Oregon. It could be Arizona. There is that possibility, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. See you guys later. Bow down to Washington. Great news. We are number four in the country.